I'm really not ashamed to say that I am a huge fan of the Xbox 360. For me, it's almost the perfect console, and I still stand by that claim, even to this day.
To this day!
Yet, even though I did adopt an Xbox 360 upon its release way back in 2005 and have amassed a super large percentage of its library, there are still so many games that pop up and, well, just make me say this.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
So for our first video on our new channel, I thought why not take a look at the Xbox 360 games you probably didn't know ever existed.
Surprise, motherfucker!
First up is Dark. Yeah, Dark. This super edgy sounding game probably evaded me for so long, not only due to its generic title and bland as fuck cover art, but also because I probably mistook it for that odd Splinter Cell vampire game that came out. Do you remember that one? What was that called again? Oh yeah, Vampire Reign. What a pile of dog shit that was. Anyway, Dark was brought to us in 2013 by Realm Forge Studios and sees you take control of Eric Bane as he, well, just kinda hides behind things and chomps on some necks. Yeah, that is kinda the whole game. Hide behind box, suck some blood. Hide behind object, suck some more blood. Hide behind another object, suck even more blood. There's also some story about killing vampires to make yourself complete or something, but you end up just murdering more innocents than you do vamps. So this one isn't worth adding to your collection in my opinion. Which is a shame, as the graphics kinda reminded me of Darkness 2, and I love that game. But nah, this game is wank. Skip it.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Next up on this list is Battle vs. Chess, which I actually consider a little unknown hidden gem for the 360. I stumbled across it last year and have yet to see it again out in the wild, so that's why it makes this list. Did you actually know about it? I doubt it. To put it simply though, what you get with this game is a hyper cinematic version of the board game chess, and it even comes complete with a fantasy, medieval shenanigan filled story to boot. So think of a game that tells an epic tale in the vein of Lord of the Rings or something like that, where the battles are won on a chessboard, and you'll get the idea. It's by no means a looker visually, but taking the classic strategy board game and infusing it with all this fantasy jazz just kinda works, and the game is an absolute blast to play. Well, that is if you can play chess, as if you can't, you're kinda screwed. So get good, son.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Next up is a game I've not even seen with my own eyes, or even played, as I genuinely didn't know it existed until doing my research for this video, and that game is Iron Sky Invasion. If Iron Sky sounds a little familiar to you, that's because this game is based on two pretty obscure sci-fi B-movies that are honestly so bad that they're kinda good. However, the game, from the limited footage and info I can find, just boils down to being a pretty generic space shooter infused with the over-the-top bad and cheesy acting of the movies. Which is kinda a shame considering the movies have the bloody German baddies on dinosaurs in them, yet the developers of this one chose to go down this mundane route instead. So yeah, while I'd still like to give it a go, it's a pretty pricey game for what it is, and finding a copy seems like a bit of a ball ache. So let's move on and reverse back to 1997, when a little movie released called Men in Black. The film was a massive hit, but unfortunately with every new theatrical release into the franchise failing to capture the magic of the first, interest in Men in Black quickly faded. So you can imagine my surprise then when I stumbled across Men in Black Alien Crisis, and, well, to be honest, I wish I fucking hadn't, as after hoping this would be some neat little gem set in the universe of one of my favourite childhood movies, yeah, after playing it for this video, I can say this game is utter trash. From the graphics to the gameplay, everything here is truly god-awful and just broken. The bulk of this one is made up of the most repetitive, laborious third-person cover shooting you're likely to ever find, and the rest is just some on-rails driving segments that are completely forgettable. But the biggest sin here is there is not a shred of the clever writing and humour that made people fall in love with the universe all those years ago. Let this one stay hidden forever and just bury it with the countless copies of FIFA out there. Oh yeah, talking about sports games. It's a common known fact that Xbox 360 sport games litter just about every charity or second-hand shop out there. But one sports title you don't see often is Handball 16. I really didn't even know they made handball titles. Is handball that popular of a sport it can justify getting a game? I don't know. Is it any good? I don't know that either, as the steep price of 45 smackaroos doesn't seem worth the risk to me. If you're a fan of the sport and have this though, hit me up in the comments. I'm kinda intrigued by it. How does it play? What do you do? Is it worth £45? There's like little to no information I can find on Metacritic and other sites about it, so that's all I have to say about this one. Now it's time to talk about grey matter. No, not that grey matter. I mean this grey matter. This odd little unknown entity that snuck into the Xbox 360's library and I didn't even know about it. Or maybe I did, and its box art had me convinced it was some sort of mystical card game, so I ignored it. But if that was the case, then I was a fool, a foolish fool, as oh how I was wrong about this game, as it's actually a really bloody fun, deep and engaging point-and-click adventure with a great story, eerie atmosphere, and a unique tone with some truly great puzzles to boot that effortlessly tie into the story. If you're a fan of the genre, go in blind and you'll find yourself a nice little hidden gem waiting for you on the 360.
Surprise, motherfucker.
There was a lot, and I mean a lot, of obscure fantasy-based RPGs and action RPGs for the Xbox 360. And, well, I thought I knew them all. Hell, Dark Messiah and Kingdoms of Amalur will always hold a special place in my pixelated heart. Yeah, I recently discovered Bound by Flame, an extremely janky mesh of Dragon Age and The Witcher combat kind of thing. It's not downright terrible, and the god-awful voice acting actually had me chuckling throughout. But other than that, there's really not enough here to recommend you go check it out. The level design is poor, the bosses are piss weak, and there's a ton of bugs that hamper the overall experience. It was only £6, so now it's part of my collection, but I won't be going back to it anytime soon, trust me.
Surprise, motherfucker.
With a lot of lower tier games, you can see the effort was there, but an awesome setting and ideas can only get you so far, and most just don't quite stick the landing. And that's what can be said about Infernal. Yet, there's something incredibly goofy that makes me not actually hate Infernal Hell's Revenge. In fact, I actually enjoyed my brief time with it. Is it great? No. But is it fun? Well, yeah, it kinda is if you really turn your brain off. And yeah, the fallen angel turned demonic story is just interesting enough to keep you distracted from the game's many mechanical flaws. And the supernatural abilities are actually satisfyingly fun to use. If you've played just about everything the 360 has to offer, then Infernal is probably well worth picking up. It has some great boss battles, and it's not too hard on the eye either. But ultimately, it is generic as all hell, so take that into consideration. Right, time to move on from the depths of hell to the skies once again. Have you ever heard of a TV series called Falling Skies? Well, apparently there was a video game tie-in title that is a lot, and I mean a lot, like XCOM. Except it's a piss poor version and lacks any of the charm of the series it so blatantly rips off. No matter how much you love XCOM, I would not lower your standards to this one, even if you do love the show. Sure, it's competent enough, but it's brain-numbingly easy even for those who are not adept at the genre, meaning you never have to put much thought or strategy into each battle, which just kinda makes the game utterly pointless.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Another pointless Call of Duty clone I never knew existed is Secret Service, a game where you must, at all costs, protect the President of the United States. Sounds like a good time, right? Well, no, this game is bad. And I mean bad. It's honestly so bland, unimaginative, and generic I couldn't even finish it, which is saying something as my drunk brain can normally plow through the worst of games, but even with its Call of Duty-esque vibes, I couldn't bring myself to finish this one. So that says it all really, doesn't it? Lastly, we have a game that summons the third-person action games of old, and that's Morphex, a strange little Russian title that was always going to be destined for the bargain bin. Look at it! I actually do remember seeing this when it was released, but due to its name and cover art, I promptly skipped on it. However, these days, I've not once caught a glimpse of it anywhere, but after buying it, I can tell you it's definitely not as bad as the 4, yes that's right, 4 reviews on Metacritic deem it. But being honest with you all, It's ridiculously dated with some really ugly graphics and a tendency to be dark as all hell at times. But if you can look over all that, there is still some fun to be had with the game's alien mutations and ridiculous story. If you're a fan of the forgotten genre that gave us the likes of The Suffering and Evil Dead Regeneration to name a few, then you may enjoy this one. It's nowhere near as shite as it looks. And that's my list of games that kinda just came out of nowhere. Have you played any of these, or even heard of these mysterious Xbox titles? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you've liked what you've seen, be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tipsy.